another episode of Selección Nacional with your co-host. I'm Derek Etienne.
And I'm Daryl Etienne, and we are excited to talk to you guys about all things Haitian national team. We're excited because we're getting ready for the World Cup qualifiers for the men's side, and it's going to be a great matchup coming up this week. Let's do it.
It's an opportunity for Haiti to make history, who has not qualified for the World Cup since 1974. And this is a great opportunity for this team to come together, as FIFA has expanded it to 48 teams and from 32 to 48 teams, which means that there are 3 more spots up for grabs. USA, Canada, and Mexico as co-hosts have already qualified. So now there's 3 other spots available, and I don't see why Haiti can't be one of those spots.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, usually in the CONCACAF, the strong teams, Mexico, Canada, USA, then you can throw in Costa Rica, you throw in Haiti, you throw in Jamaica. Then you can't forget about Honduras, you can't forget about El Salvador and Panama. So those are the main groups, but then obviously you cannot sleep on the Caribbean. I mean, I just saw the other night that Trinidad lost to Grenada 2-0. So it's definitely a level of you have to be able to come to the games, show up and show out. That's what's going to happen. You can't just say this team is going to make it, that team is going to make it. Everybody wants to be in the World Cup. And so it's going to be, difficult, but I think that Haiti should not have an issue if we have the right players, the right connection, the right chemistry on the field, and then the right mentality, the mindset to go in as a team, not individuals, but as a team to win this. I think that we're going to do well and qualify. I really do.
And we got to have the right game plan. So it's going to be interesting, as it's a brand new regime. A whole new coaching staff is now coming in. There are some new players that have been entered into the selection. And so we have to have the right players, the right chemistry, and the right tactical game plan from the coaching staff, which is going to be interesting. Sebastien Mignet is the new coach. Sebastien is the one that replaced Calderon, and he is the one that's leading the charge. And here's the list of the players that was selected for the final roster of the selection. In goalkeepers, we have Alexander Pierre, Kouli Elien, and of course the veteran Johnny Placide. All right, your thoughts on that? To me, it's no question that it's going to be Placide.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I feel that the other 2 guys, it's a great honor and a privilege to be rostered and to make the actual list. And God forbid, there could be injuries, there could be cards, suspensions. So they're there, and that's what they're there for, backup. But the main goalkeeper in my book is Placide. Johnny Placide has been great for the national team for the last few years. He's actually done well when he wasn't with a club and would literally just come to the national team and just do damage. But now he's actually been playing. He's with the club, so he's got consistency. He's got some level of games under his belt. So I think that we're going to see the best Placide that we've seen in a while. So I'm looking forward to that. But the others, I don't think they're going to be seeing a lot of playing time unless we go up a lot and then maybe rest Placide or something like that. But he's the man. Placide's the guy for me.
I totally agree. Placide is the veteran. He's been down this road, several cycles of World Cup qualifiers, several cycles in the Gold Cup. He is the number one, probably the best Haitian goalkeeper ever. And now with him playing at Bastia, he's got that experience, as you mentioned, and he's going to be the one. Let's look to the defense. We have the captain, Ricardo Ade, Jean-Kevin Duvernay, Francois Delis, Carlins Arcus, Garvin Metuzela, Duke Lecroix, and Stefan Lambiz. The interesting one there is Stefan Lambiz, who was with the U20 and with the senior team before, but it's been out of the selection for a few years and now has made his return back. So it's going to be interesting to see. In my opinion, I think the starting 4 should possibly be Ricardo Ade and Metuzela playing in the 2 center backs. And then out wide, you're going to have Carlins Arcus. But who's going to be on the left side? You've got the retirement of Guerrier. You have you're missing Alexander Christian, and you have missing from the final roster Martin Experience. So who do we have as a true left back that's going to go in there? Will Lambiz step in there with his experience, or will they try one of the new guys that's going to play left back?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because, for me personally, I feel that Martin experience did very well around 2019, 2020, 2021. But he was always the guy coming off the bench and showed life. He showed that he can defend. He showed that he can attack. But he was never given a chance because Alex Christian pretty had it on lock. Pretty much had it on lock. So for me, I would have liked to see him really give a free role to actually come in, no stress, no pressure. You have the spot, you have the start, and see what he can do. But for some reason, he was not picked for this final selection. So maybe the coach knows something that we don't know, and I'm sure that there's other things that comes to this type of decision. But it's going to be interesting. Then you have newcomers coming in. Lambis is another one that was with that group for the 2019s. That did very well. 2021. Well, when they did well with the Gold Cup, that was in 2021, right? So that particular core group, Lambis was a part of that group, and whether he started or came in as an impact player, he was a actual impact player. So for him to not be in a selection for the last few years was mind-boggling to me as well. But welcome back. So he's back. Maybe that's the guy we're going to go to.
Yeah, he was bouncing between clubs and now finally found a home. He's currently playing in Lokomotiv Sofia, so now he's got an opportunity to show himself and to get back into the lineup. The good thing is he could play on the right or the left. Yeah. I'm thinking he's going to get that look, but again, I'm not sure what Coach Sebastian is thinking, so we'll see. But I think it's clear it's going to be Ricardo Ade and it's going to be Methuselah playing in center back. They've led through the whole Nations League, and so I think they're going to continue playing in center back. Your thoughts on Ricardo Ade? He's the captain, playing well over in Ecuador. What do you think? He's got another run in him to lead this team, or what?
Yeah, I think that this is going to be his most effective run. As we go into 2026 World Cup. Obviously, 4 years from that will be 2030 World Cup. I don't know if will he be around for 6 more years from now at the level that he's playing. Right now, the level he's playing is good football. I think he's in his prime. He's doing great for club and for country. There's no one right now that's even scratching the surface of taking that from him. So we just pray that he stays healthy, that he stays, in form, and that he can continue to lead. But this is a great opportunity for him and will be a great way for him to just, pass that mantle going into the 2026 World Cup.
Yes. Let's look into the midfield. I think this is going to be interesting for us. I think this is going to be the key to us being successful in attacking, not just in this second round of World Cup qualifiers where we're playing against Barbados, St. Lucia, and Curacao, but even as we advance to later rounds, I think our midfield is going to be key to us competing with the best in the Caribbean. We have Leverton Pierre made his comeback because he wasn't called to the last camp. Carl Fred Sant, who's playing at FC Dallas, he's going to be in there. Danley Jean-Jacques playing for FC Metz. Christopher Atis, Belmar Joseph, the surprising new youngster from the U20 team. Belmar Joseph is going to be in there. Olivier Wudinski-Pierre and Derek Etienne Jr. Did get the call back as he wasn't called back for the final games in Nations League. And unfortunately, we were defeated and lost in the Nations League and was relegated. But so it's good to see Leverton Pierre is back. Derek Etienne is back. Carl Fred, Dan Lejeune is back. And then, of course, the young players that are coming in. What are your thoughts on that midfield? And who do you think should that midfield be if we're playing in a 4-3-3?
In a 4-3-3, to me, it's clear and obvious. It should be Danley, it should be Carl Saint, and Derek Etienne Jr. as the three in the midfield. They're the best midfielders that we have. They're technical. They have work rate. They have game understanding, and they should be the starting group. Now, we don't know if the coach is going to go political, if the coach is going to go with experience, if he's going to go with leadership. It's going to be interesting to see as Nazon is going to be as a 9. But now that you have Perry, we'll discuss that later on. But if Nazon will be a forward, as a center forward, a wide player, or will they throw him into the midfield, as a false 9 and something like that? That remains to be seen. But if in my book, I think the proper midfield for this team should be those three that I just mentioned: Derek Etienne Jr., Danley, and Carl Saint.
I agree. I think that Dan Lejeune and Carl Fred Saint have been strong in the midfield, playing in the 6 and the 8. If you play with 2 6s, or if you play Carl Fred playing deeper as a 6 and let Danny Jean roam box to box, I think they do well. And then having Derek at the point as the number 10. He's playing number 10 now for Toronto and doing extremely well and having success there. So I think those three found a connection in the early stages of the Nations League. And so I think those will be the best three in the midfield. And then you have Leverton Pierre that can come in and give fresh legs, and who's able to keep the ball and keep possession of the game. And then it's going to be interesting to see, depending on the results, whether Coach Sebastian will give the young players an opportunity in Olivier and Belmar or Christopher Atis. Is he going to give them an opportunity to come in to give fresh legs? Because we do have 2 games in 3 days. So, but the starting 3, I agree. It probably should be Carl Fred. I think we should go with Danley Jean-Jacques, and then, of course, Derek Etienne playing in the 10. And I think that will give us a great, strong, creative work rate in the midfield that will allow us to score some goals.
Yeah. I agree with you that Leverton Pierre coming off as an impact player, substitute second half, 55th, 60th minute. I think he'll be able to do well. And, and the youngster, in Belmar Joseph, I think that it is good for him to be a part of this. Does he have the experience to play at these level games that are at stake? That remains to be seen. I think that if it was based on seniority, he would probably just be there for the experience. Yeah. However, if he shows quality in these camps and shows what I know he can show, you and I seen him in New Jersey. We've seen him. We've coached him. We know what he's capable of. So if he's able to display that in the camp amongst the heavy hitters that are already there, maybe he will get some burn, get maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes, in one of the games should we go up and have a comfortable lead. But in terms of the game being on the line, I don't think he's earned the trust yet. He's did one stint with the U20s and he did well with the U20s. But the U20s is different from senior team. And so he has to earn the trust of the coach. It's all about trust. And I don't think that's there yet. So the trust will come if we're up 3-0, 4-0, 20 minutes to go. Let's give the youngster a look. So that's where I think his situation is. And, I love that we're willing to promote the young players and give them opportunity when they deserve it. I really do feel that there's other players too that's within the U20 that could have been called in. But this is the selection that we have. I think Belmar is a good selection, and hopefully he'll be able to get some burn. We'll see.
And like you said, it's an experience for him, just being in the training environment with the senior team, being in that environment for weeks at a time, seeing the game, seeing the atmosphere, seeing the passion at this level. I think even if he doesn't play, it's going to be the experience that's needed to go back to the 20s and carry that confidence with them playing with the U20s, because they have their final round that's coming up next month as well. So I think it'll be good for the young players. Lastly, let's look at the attack. So Coach Sebastian brought in Dietzen Lucius, Franzi Piro, Monzi Punier, Fafa Pico, Dukins Nazon, Brian Labissiere, and Mikhail Cantave. We've got a good, strong attacking players. It's going to be interesting to see who he places in that starting front 3. Now, in my opinion, I think you've got to go with Franzi's playing Champions League ball. Franzi is doing well in Europe, and there are several teams that are interested in buying him and allowing him to go and play even higher. I think the last I heard was that a team in Turkey, Besiktas, is looking at him for a transfer. So he's clearly the number 9 that should be starting. And then you can have Punier coming off the bench to give him a breather. But it's got to be in the 9. It's got to be Franzi Piro. And I think you got to go with Nazon on the left, playing in the 11. And then you go with Fafa Pico playing in the 7 on the right side. The question remains, does Nazon have the stamina to be able to play on the wing and do what needs to be done of joining in the attack, but also tracking back and helping? So he is getting, I think he probably, outside of Johnny Placide, is probably the most capped player in the team. So I think that Nazon brings a wealth of experience. He's the all-time leading goal scorer, or going for the all-time leading goal scoring record. So he's a player that you have to have in the midst. But will he be able to give us 70, 80 minutes playing on the wing, or is coach going to do something different?
Is Nazon a starter? That's the question.
Yeah.
I agree with you that he has the quality that in the attacking third, you give him the ball anywhere around the box, he's going to create a chance. He's going to create a foul. He's going to get a free kick for us. He's going to get a shot on goal or possibly score. But can he do the defensive work that we want as we press and as we put players under pressure and team the backline under pressure, be able to do that work and then still have the lungs to still do what you do offensively? So that's the part that I'm a little leery on. I know what Nazon can do. I've seen him for years, fan of his, but I want to see him in the best light. I don't want to see him trying to do 60 minutes and in 30 minutes he's done, because he doesn't have the stamina to do the work that's necessary for today's modern day wingers. So that's a difficult decision that the coach has to make. You know, do you not start the leading goal scorer? Do you not start one of your leaders because maybe he can only give us 30 minutes of quality? Or do you start him and you sub him at halftime because he has nothing left? We don't know. So yeah, I'm praying for Nazon. He's one of my favorite players for the national team. So I want him to do well in that position, but I want him to do well. So,
do you change the formation? Do you change the formation? Do you go with two up top, where you have Pirro and you have Nazon playing up top? And then now you have to go with now you're forced to put maybe perhaps Derek wide left, Fafa wide right, with Carl Fred and Dan Lejeune playing in the center. So, that's something that you have to look at as well, that if you want to see him in his best light, then do we put him in the center forward? Do we put him up there in a 4-4-2,
I honestly feel Nazon is best suited as an attacking player, as a 9. He can play forward, he can play center forward, but he can also play as a left winger, depending on if he does not have the defensive responsibilities. If we can Neymar him, if we can say, hey, just put a little pressure, dictate him one way, and that's it, and not expecting to track back, and then the boys behind him do the work, then maybe we can get away with it. But in my opinion, we would have to switch to a 4-4-2 or 3-5-2, where you would have Derek. Yeah, you would have Derek in the 10 to feed the 2 up front, and we'll do the work with Danley and Carl Saint. And then again, who's that left winger? And I think we have enough firepower to go with 3 in the back.
I agree. So, I think we should do the 3-5-2. I would go with in the back Ricardo Ade with Carlins Akus and with Methuselah as the 3 in the back. 2 defensive center mids, Dan Lejeune and Carl Fred Saint, Derek in the 10. And then wide left, I would go with Dietzen playing in the wide left. He's the one that was wearing the number 10 jersey and was playing and scored great goals against Jamaica. Put him wide left, Fafa Pico wide right, Nazon and Pirro up top. And I think we could do well. The issue is, did we have enough time to look at those different formations? Did we have enough time to look at the responsibilities? And I don't think we did. So, I think based on the personnel, the players we have, you got to go 3-5-2 if you want your best players on the field. Then you have to go with those 3 in the back: Akus, Ade, Methuselah in the midfield, Dan Lejeune, Carl Fred, Derek Etienne Jr., and then up and out wide, Fafa Pico and Dietzen, and then up front you got to go Pirro and Nazon.
Yeah, but if we choose to go 4-3-3. Then in my personal opinion, it would have to be Franzi starting the center forward in the 9, and Nazon comes in for him. And then I will go strong with Cantave, who's welcome back, sir. He's a good player that just disappeared from the national team, wasn't a favorite of the coach. Him to be brought back, I think that he'll do well, whether he starts or comes off the bench. Like you said, Dietzen can be a wide player. Fafa has to start, so to me, if you go 4-3-3, Fafa's on the right side, Perio's in the Franzi's in the 9, and then it's Dietzen. It's any of those players that can play wide, and Nazon would have to come off and get me 30 for Franzi. That's what I would do. Say it again.
I think we have the team. We have the players, and whichever direction we go, 4-3-3. It's just now the coaches preparing the players with the right mentality. We're playing in Group C. Group C is with St. Lucia, with Curacao, and Barbados. First game of today is against St. Lucia, and now we have to make sure we have the right mentality. Now, one would think on paper that these are easier teams, but we always seem to struggle when we're playing against the easier teams, that we don't play as well and we make the game difficult. I think the key is going to be, can the coach get the right mentality of the players to take these games seriously?
Mhm.
This is the first of the road to the World Cup, and we have to send a message to the whole league that Haiti is the force that's going to be reckoned with, and they're looking for that top spot. So we need to have the right mentality and take these games seriously.
Yeah, and I think the part of the having the right mentality is not looking ahead. A lot of times Haiti would look at the next game, and so we would adjust this game. So it's, oh, we have Mexico coming up, so we're going to rest these players. We're going to do this and do that, and you don't get to Mexico because we didn't take care of business at hand. So hopefully the mentality is best players that are in form. We start with that group and we make it obvious, make it clear. And when the goals are up 3, 4, 5, then you want to experiment, you can do that. But you have to go with your best foot forward day in, day out, each game, especially during this cycle now as we're trying to qualify. We cannot overlook teams. We cannot look to round 2, round 3. And no, this is it. This game right here is do or die. Every game is do or die. That's the mentality we have to have. And we want to win every game with a convincing statement saying we are the team, the force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that, and with that as well, not only having the best players on the field, the right mentality, and the mentality has to be, we understand what the goal is. The goal is we're qualifying for the World Cup. So it's not about one individual. It's about the whole team. It's about the nation being represented on the biggest stage. And so that means that we have to put our egos aside. That means we have to put away our personal accolades and wanting to get this and wanting to be seen here, players wanting to be, picked up by other clubs. All of that will come when we play and we play well. So the goal is for us to make sure that we understand the objective is to qualify. That is to win our games, to win convincingly, and continue to grow and develop as a team. And all for one, Union fait la force. It's our unity that's going to be our strength and our force to help us to make it to that final stage.
Yeah. And then with all of the unrest happening in Haiti at this moment, it is very important that the players understand that there's more to play for. We're playing to put the spotlight on Haiti, on the national team, but on the actual country itself, and say, look what's happening in our country, and we're fighting in spite of. We're playing in spite of. We're trying to bring hope. We're trying to bring peace. We're trying to bring a light to an end of a dark season. And so it's a lot that's being played. And if the parents, if the players are able to grasp that concept and work in that realm, I think it'll be beneficial for all parties involved. Mainly our country will be able to be seen in a different light, and different changes will be made, and different type of things will be happening on the political scene. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. So this is a great opportunity for Haiti to start today. They play at 5 p.m. Eastern time on June 6th against St. Lucia. And so this is the first game of many leading us into the World Cup. And so St. Lucia, they have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. So I don't think they're just going to roll over. And they're gonna try to bring something, and perhaps like most teams do, sit back and then look to counterattack against us. So we're going to have to play some football, use some high IQ on how we're going to have to break them down if we're going to effectively beat these teams.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the main thing for us is just be ready to work, give it all. And that's it. Like you said, Union fait la force and victoire. That's it. We're going to win. If we have the same mentality, we're on the same page. So we're looking forward to it. I'm excited. It's great to see my nephew out there again, Derek Etienne. Just make sure, hey, I'm expecting him to just, be himself and be free and show his quality and represent his country well. And all the rest of the players as well. Nazon, Franzi, Dave, seeing these guys back playing together, Placide. To me, it's a joy, but now let's just take care of business and we'll celebrate later.
We have business to take care of. So just one last thing, the result came from in our group, Barbados and Curacao played last night. Curacao won 4-1. Curacao won their first game 4-1. And so we play tonight against St. Lucia. And then there's Barbados on Sunday. So it's important that we walk away with this weekend with 6 points to be sitting on top. We need clean sheets. So with them giving up a goal, with Curacao giving up 1 goal, we need a clean sheet and score as many goals as we can so we can stay on top of the group going into the game. So this game is important, and we got to make it happen. All right. Well, all right, bro, thanks for the conversation. We're looking forward to it. We'll see you back after the game later on tonight or tomorrow to do the post game to recap what happened, and we're hoping that it's good news as the boys take care of business. So until next time, we'll see you on Selección Nacional Live.
Granade.